Hello everybody and welcome to the Little Farmer's Farm. This is Guru Mafinda and it's a Thursday night. It's Thursday the 9th of May. Just a quick update tonight, just to show you what I've just been planting, and I've done a little bit of tidying. I've just come down after work really for a bit, and I've been down here for about 45 minutes. So I got down here for about 6 o'clock. It's 6:45 now. It's just spotting me rain, so I've got to be mindful of that. I'm going to be getting off in 5 minutes, but I just thought I'd give a quick update of what we've been up to, or what I've been up to since the weekend. Give you a quick look around the plot. Alright, see you in a bit. So if you remember from a couple of episodes ago, we were looking at the sweet corn, and I've got plenty of sweet corn in here. I've just taken I think 16 sweet corn, and I'm doing a bit of an experiment. It's not too hot at the moment, but it's around about 4 or 5 degrees at night and about 10 to 14 degrees generally during the day. And I need the space, so what I'm doing is I'm taking this sweet corn out. I divided quite a bit of it up last time and put it into these little pots. Which are like the sort of 3-inch pots. And I've got 4 left there, but I've just put a few in, and I'm going to see how they go this week. I'm going to leave these ones in here for this week, but see how the experimental ones get on outside. I'll show you where they are right now. So here they are, and they're in the sort of mid plot on Helen's side, on plot 37. And I've planted them in the, looking at the 16 in there, and they're planted in a block around about a foot apart. So you plant them in a square block, a foot apart, in blocks of 4. So the 16 there that I've put in, I've also put in the one of the sunflowers. It's Grandma's sunflower. We'll put the tag near to it there, so we know. Grandma with a love heart. So she's tied onto a cane there. So we'll see how that one gets on. But I'll show you. I've been inspired really by Mick. Mick's a brave man, and he's put his sweet corn out last weekend. So we'll see how they go. They'll either thrive and survive, or they'll die off, and it'll be a trip to Paul Green. But as I say, I've got plenty more in there to replace these, so I'm going to try these for a week, see if it's viable, and then I'm going to continue on up here and half fill this bed. This is about a quarter full with these at the moment, which means there's going to be 32 in here. The rest of them will be going in this one, in that bed. But I'll show you Mick's. I hope he doesn't mind. He's got them in the ground. They don't seem to be dying off just yet. Yeah, they're over there, as you can see, next to the onions, and they seem to be doing fine, you know. As long as you don't get a frost or a severe cold, these should be fine now. And we're coming into sort of the second week of May now, 2019. I don't think it's too much of a stretch of the imagination to think to yourself, give it a whirl, you know. Worst can happen, you need to get some more in. Give it a try, see what happens. He's got some giant Peruvian ones at the front there. We'll have to have a catch up with Mick and see if he'll talk us through what he's got growing on next door. But yeah, I'm giving it a whirl with a sweet corn. Look at these buggers again. I beheaded all these on the weekend. It's unbelievable. Dandelions releasing their spores. I'll behead them before I go tonight. But anyway, the apple tree has shed its blossom, so hopefully we'll get some results off this one. It's a 2-year-old tree, this. We got about 7 or 8 apples off it last year, but this year, if you look at the growth, as long as they're all pollinated, these, we should get probably about 40, hopefully, off that. The pear tree is romping along. That's about 5 or 6 years old, this pear tree, and as you can see already, there's tons of baby pears on it as we're looking around. So with any luck, that should produce about 100 pears. I think last year it did about 60 or 70 last year. So fingers crossed on that one. This is the cherry tree that I cut back and placed in here and moved it from the centre of the plot. And that was only sort of like 6 weeks ago that it got moved and rehoused. But I put plenty of, I put bloodfish and bone in there, and I also put in 6X, probably about 2 or 3 handfuls of 6X into the hole that I planted that in. So I'm hoping that that's going to be all right. It's just got a little bit of blossom left on it now. So, but we'll see what's happened with it. We may get cherries, we may not get cherries, you never know. I think there's one at least there. I think we've got at least one. But fingers crossed for that. These are the chucked in ones. And that is a mixture of, what was that now? I think it was International Kidney and another first early, which I can't remember the name of. Anyway, let's see if there's a label for it. Yeah, International Kidney. I think the majority were International Kidney, to be honest with you, that got put in there. They were just thrown in, and they've only been half filled. So we're going to see if we can earth those up a little bit more on the weekend and get a bit of a crop off them. But they were the ones that were really cheap. I think you got 8 little seed potatoes from Poundland for a quid, so they're like 12p a seed potato. But if you watch the potato comparison video that I did about 2 or 3 months ago, you'll see that the little seed potatoes, they're very tiny. They're about that size. They were sort of the size of a large pigeon egg. And in comparison with the ones that we got from Paul Green, the Paul Green ones were a big fat duck egg size. And when you worked it out, you got better value for money paying £3.50 for something like 25 big fat duck egg sized ones than you got from getting the 8 for £1 of the tiny ones. And I think that would be the way forward. It works out that you were about you got about 25-30% more getting them from the garden centre at Paul Green than you did from Poundland to Poundland, and certainly in size and quality, visual quality, they were much better. But we'll see how they get on. It's not always size that matters, is it? Now, because I'm of Irish heritage and I'm mad on potatoes, you can see I've just put the final batch of potatoes out, and these are Maris Pear. Well, a combination actually of Maris Pear in these ones and Maris Piper in those ones. There's 2 each in these ones, these buckets. These are like storage container buckets, but they had a deal on. I think it was, they were a quid a piece. They were giving these away for at the Poundland shop. So we got these ones. We've got, I think we got 7 of these because I only had 7 quid in my pocket at the time. But there's a potato there, about there actually, underneath, and one about there. And then there's one, I believe, here and here, and they're in a sort of a diagonal as you go along, so they've got a bit of grow room and a bit of space when the leaves and the foliage comes out. These ones, there's 3 to a bucket. These are the 30-litre buckets. I think the design of these, the sort of style of these, is a similar design to what a lot of the growers are doing on YouTube. Certainly Tony O'Neill at UK Here We Grow favours that particular style, but I think he goes for the big 50 or 55-litre buckets when he's doing his growing. But I couldn't get my hands on them. They were only £1.99, you see, so I got the 4 of them for £8 from Paul Green. I think the bigger ones were like £5.99, and so I plumbed for the ones that were a little bit cheaper. Obviously they're smaller, but that's the way we roll. In this covered bed, we've got a lot of broccoli and red lettuce. You might not even be able to see that red lettuce. It's very dark red. I'm loath to take this off at this stage, to be honest with you, but yeah, so we've got red lettuce, standard lettuce, only a couple of the standard lettuces, loose leaf, along in there with the broccoli. It's all broccoli in there. Its brother next door, they seem to be romping along a lot better. I think I prepared this soil with quite a bit of nitrogen in it, if I remember rightly. I think this one got the 6X treatment, and this one just got the bloodfish and bone treatment. but I think this got bloodfish and bone and the 6X. I should have made a note of that, to be honest with you, because in here, as you can see, they were planted at the same time, and these ones are considerably more lush in this particular bed. In fact, let's have a look. Let's lift up the skirts and have a quick blimp. Yeah, it's looking a lot more lush. Now these are cauliflowers in here. So yeah, you've got your broccoli, or rather calabrese in the top one, and then the broccoli. The cauliflower in the planted with your lettuces, but they're romping along in comparison with that one. So the soil amendments are doing the job, aren't they, in there? So as we move down the plot, we've got this one which I put in, if you remember, at the end of last year, when we got all the decking timber from Howard's place, and we picked it up with Sue and her fella Chris. And yes, we've got a load of that decking timber, and I built this large bed. This is a true raised bed. You can call this one a raised bed because it's of a certain height. To be honest with you, it should really be around about 2 feet high to be a true raised bed. All these ones, although people call them raised beds, are actually technically section beds. The sections of land that you've donated to a certain thing, it's sectioned off rather than raised. Raised beds are for the elderly gardener or people who have got back issues and things like that, so that they can easily reach down to do the tending of the crops without, without basically hurting themselves or injuring and straining their backs. But these ones were put in first into here, and it was about probably about a week after, actually, we did the experimental potatoes, so it would have been the week after the 17th, probably around the 25th of March 2019. And they were planted relatively deeply, about 10 inches deep down, and they're all the Sarpo Mira in here. There are, I think, 10 or 12, maybe 12 Sarpo Mira potato plants from seed potato that were planted in there. And in this side we've got Desiree down this side, and we've got these were about 2 or 3 weeks afterwards, so that was the beginning of April really. This was about 2 or 3 weeks after that, so it was the mid-April. These have only been in 2 or 3 weeks in this final row, and in this final row we have the Maris Piper in there. I put some of this stuff down, which is supposed to be decorative bark from Lidl or Aldi or somewhere like that. I'll show you. This stuff, if you look on the front of this is what it's supposed to look like, all beautiful and sort of beigey. And what you get from the actual bag when you open it is something that you could probably direct plant into. You know what I mean? It's a lot more rotted and dark and bleak looking than it says on the bag. Well, it does the job, I suppose, doesn't it? You can walk on it. It's a soft bed. You don't get completely muddied up. And this is the daddy of the beds that I made last week. If you saw what we were doing last week and the week before, as I said, we put the actual base in and the hoops on 2 weeks ago, and then last weekend, if you saw that last episode that I think it was the last episode that we did, I put that up and we planted it, and that's planted in there with the red lettuce, loose leaf. You've got red cabbage down there for those three, bright lights chard in those two at the front. You've got the rhubarb chard. I think it's either the rhubarb chard or it's rainbow chard, one of the two. And down here I think we got the Brussels sprouts. So yeah, there's 6 Brussels sprouts plants, and then you've got 3 collies on the end there that I'm trying to leave and get into big collies. Celeriac down there, and there may be a couple of other bits and bobs going in there. Yeah, I might even get some try and do some catch cropping in here with some beetroot, radishes, things like that, because it'll be a while. These probably be about a month, 6 weeks before they get to any sort of decent size, those brassicas that we've got in that bed. But this is the one that I'm probably most proud of. We're getting right dab hands at building these now. Talking to Mick about it the other day. They're coming on a treat, these. our Bradley's cage, as you can see there. So yeah, quickly moving on. Next bed, again, inside this one, there's pointed cabbage and roundhead cabbage in this one. And there's also the little baby ones that we've started off there but have not got a home as yet, because we need to get some netting up done this weekend. And we've got some, now what's that at the front there? That is parsnip, some more red cabbage, some more giant cabbage I think we've got in there. We've got bits and pieces of chard that's left behind in there as well that we need to get a home for. This bed's going to be the bed that's for the Jack Billicle squash that Tasha gave us, and also the spaghetti squash that Tasha gave us is going to be going there at that side of the bed. And at this side of the bed we're going to have 3 courgette plants. These exact 3 courgette plants, 2 greens and a yellow. While I'm in the greenhouse, I'll just show you that. That's the giant pumpkin that Mick gave us the seed, well, the seed start for. That was dead tiny. The first time we got our hands on it, which was only probably about a month ago, that was about the size of one of those that you can see there, which is a cute small cucumber plant that we've got. And now look at it. We need to get that out, but I'm a little bit dubious as whether to put that out or not at the moment, because I want to leave that for probably 2 weeks if I can get away with it. 2 weeks more for that, and the same with these ones, so that we can guarantee we're going to miss the frosts. Joe will kill me and mock me mercilessly if I put these out and they die off. I'll tell you that for nothing. The magical wise old elf, I'll take the Mickey royally out of us. So yeah, we've got the more big buckets down here. There's 3 in each one of those ones. Again, 30 litres or so, those buckets. So we'll see how those ones get on. They were put in there about 3 weeks ago. And now for the potato experimentation. This was the 17th of March 2019, which is 17th, yes it was 17th, St Patrick's Day 2019, and we did the experiment with the feed. So into there we got the bog standard compost, and we added feed into it. Each one of those buckets got 1 handful of 6X, which is the 6X concentrated farmyard manure stuff. And along with that, it either got Growmore, which is these first 2. These, by the way, are the Ulster Prince, the first 6. So we've got Growmore in those ones, and each got a big handful of Growmore. Each got a big handful of chicken manure, organic chicken manure, and each got a big handful of the blood fish and bone, and the end 2 of the blood fish and bone. Now looking at foliage, this is a catch-up, and it's 7 weeks in, I think, now. So looking at the foliage, guess who's winning? It's the organic chicken manure that's winning. I've moved these back so I could get those sweet corn in, but it's the same story here. Now with these ones, this is the bloodfish, this is the Growmore, the first 2. You've got the chicken manure, and you've got the bloodfish and bone. Now I think that the Red Duke of York, which is the last 6 buckets rather, isn't as fussy, because you don't seem to be having the same sort of a drastic result in difference. The Ulster Prince does not like Growmore at all. The Red Duke of York, not too fussy, quite likes it. In fact, it likes it as much as it likes the bloodfish and bone. But both of them seem to like, foliage wise, for sure, the chicken manure, because that's romping along. Anyway, just an experiment. The proof will be in the yield, won't it? And the yield will be in another 7 weeks' time. We're probably going to be talking with these ones, tipping them out probably the back end of June. I'll say the last week of June, because then they'll have had about 105, 110 days working it out, which is more than enough for first earlies. I never showed you this on the weekend, did I? But I put the pea cage in to the pea bed. And these have all been planted sort of over the last 6 weeks, something like that. The first ones that went in were about 3 weeks ago, which are the ones at the back there, and I think the Meteor is the variety, and then we've got Onward, and then we've got these ones here, which are, oh, what were they called now, those ones on this side? Early Onward, these ones on this side. And when we covered them over with a cage initially, but it wasn't long enough, and it only went up to there, and you can see the difference between where the cage ended and where it didn't. That last 4 feet was exposed to pigeons, and the pigeons attacked it. Now it's open at the top, but I don't think the pigeons are going to be too keen about going in there. They don't seem to be, because that went in on Saturday, and there hasn't been any more damage from the pigeons since those canes were put in there to poke their eyes out and stab their breasts with. I don't think they'll be too keen on getting in there. I think that should be okay, but I've sort of interlaced it with string in there to help the plants climb. And there's netting on the front as well. That's the fish pond netting, external fish pond netting that we put around there, and cover the ends as well with the little baby bed head and bedstead. So yeah, that's one of the ones that we put in on the weekend. I think it might have been Monday that I did that, Bank Holiday Monday, that I never showed you. Now the other, if you remember from a couple of weeks ago, probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, when the family were down, it was actually, I think, the same weekend that, no it wasn't the same week, it was a week before the last bank holiday, so that would be about 3 weeks ago. Family Fun on the Plots, I think it was called, something like that one, where we were doing the trenches and we were putting the potatoes in. So again, we've got the Ulster Prince and we've got the Red Duke of York, but then we go on to the Desiree, and then we go on to the end one, which is your Sarpo Mira. A mixture of potatoes in there, different berries in here. We've got the autumn raspberries. We've got blackcurrant on the end. Raspberries of mixed type. We've got early, mid and late summer raspberries in there, along with some blackcurrant along with some blackberries that we're not sure whether they're going to be making it or not. They don't seem to be doing very much. Strawberries down there, rhubarb in there. The rhubarb's not doing too spectacular. I split a crown, but I split a crown only about 6 weeks ago and stuck it in there, which is not the right thing to do, but it's not dead, is it? It's doing all right. Potatoes that were put in on the first week of February and buried about 12 inches down, just thrown in basically into the ground, these ones. So we'll see how they get on. These ones were only about 3 weeks ago, the continuation, and again you've got the Desiree in there, and you've got the Sarpo Mira in there. In here we've got a bed of, again, round and pointed cabbages. We've got the pak choy in there and the spinach. I'm experimenting with open planting so early in the season because it's not really cabbage white. We're not into cabbage white territory as yet. Next couple of weeks, if it warms up, we'll have plenty of cabbage whites knocking about, but hopefully they'll be ready for coming out and harvesting before the cabbage white caterpillar can do any serious damage. These are the ones that we've had in over winter. We've overwintered the garlic, which is 2 different types of garlic in here. We've got the Germador, pink Germador, and we've got the Casablanca. And on the end, these ones were what were these onions now? They were stir-on onions. Up here, they're not stir-on, they were, yes, they were stir-on in there as well. In there, sorry. And then again, you've got your garlic in there, a same mixed bag of garlic in there, which is your Casablanca. And your pink Germador. We've got swede in here, red cabbage in the middle, swede on that side. And that's, I think, where we're up to at the moment. Got some broad beans there as well. Broad beans in there. I think I've missed the boat with these beetroot, but I don't know. I might chuck them in, see what they do. And that's probably us, really. I think that's about it so far, boys and girls. So yeah, quick plot up. It's probably not quick either. This is probably about 25 minutes, but a plot update nonetheless. The only thing I've not shown you actually is what we've got going up in the top greenhouse. So I'll show you that quickly now. So a couple of little started cucumbers there that Mick gave us. I've got my fingers crossed. I'm hoping they'll recover. They're suffering a little bit in here, to be honest. It's probably my fault for being daft or whatever I am. But if you look in here, we're getting actual flowers on these, and these are the little cucumbers, the baby rocky cucumbers. We're actually getting flowers on these already. They were only put in about a fortnight ago. Got peppers there, which is the Corno de Toro Rosso, the Red Bull's Horn. Costolotto tomato. I don't know why I'm speaking like this, but I am, and I cannot get out of it. I am stuck in it. I am a Frenchman for today. Right. Shut up, Tony. Crack on. This is called a striped stuffer tomato, one we grew from seed. It's the only one I'm keeping. I've given the rest of them away because I'm not going to have the room for it, and I want to give it a good shot. I want to give it the best shot. I'm going to take that out of there actually for a couple of days and see how he gets on, because he's getting water. Too much water around his roots. It's not going to be doing him much good. I'll put him more in the centre there, let him get a bit of sun if we get some sun. See what happens. Giant pumpkin. There's some more of Tasha's there that are ready for going into one of those beds outside. That's the spaghetti squash. There's 2 of those. We've got some more capsicum there. We've got some more capsicum there. We've got some Corno di Toro Rosso again in there. We have tomato sun gold in there. That one was given to us by the lovely, beautiful and fragrant Patricia at Sow and Grow. We've got mixed mystery Tom. We've got another one, which is a black Russian one that Patricia gave us. We've got another one there that's a money maker. And that, I think, is all she wrote. It's getting dark now, boys and girls. God, I'm manic, aren't I? I'm a manic lunatic. What a lunatic I am. We've got a bit of a bed going on there for the herbs. Something might have to be done about that, because some are doing all right, some are suffering in there. But that is, I think, all she wrote, apart from that tree. I've got so much stuff going on at the minute, mate. It's unbelievable what we've got growing. I've not talked about these trees on this side, have I? Quickly, I will talk about these. Cooking apple tree. Thousands of cooking apples going to be coming on that. Down there, we have a damson. We have a plum. Is that all she wrote? No, it's not all she wrote, is it? It's not all she wrote at all. I'm a lunatic. I'm a raving lunatic. Look at this here. Again, we've got blueberry. No, we've not got blueberry. We've got blackcurrant here, and there's tons on it. These have all had the bloodfish and bone treatment. You've gone crackers with spuds this year. Look at this. It's amazing. We're going to have spuds coming out of our ears and growing in our ears because we don't wash our ears. So in there, again, at the front, you've got the Ulster Prince and the Red Duke of Yorks at the back. Similar story. All had bloodfish and bone and nothing else, them ones. Over there, we have a gooseberry bush. And I think that's it. Yeah, that is it. Thank God for that. Forgive me, I'm a lunatic. And I can't keep away from here. It's unbelievable. I've got to get home, actually, see the kids, get something for me tea and everything now, but... and see the lady farmer, of course, as well, and find out what she's been doing with her day, and have a chat and a rundown. So there we go, that's it, that's what we've got growing on at the minute. There's going to be more stuff going out shortly in the next couple of weeks, but it's probably going to be a couple of weeks before we get anything major out. But I will get those parsnips in the ground, that's for sure, and probably the rest of the brassicas this weekend. And then that'll be it for about a week or two then, until we can get them courgettes out and that giant pumpkin. I've got to get them roses planted up as well, them rose bushes that I got for Valentine's Day for Helen. Queen of Bermuda, they're called. They've got to go out. I've got to sort them 2 greenhouses out as well, for the capsicums, the cucumbers and the tomatoes. Give them the permanent homes and make sure they're going to be all right growing on. Because that'll free. I'm going to free up them get everything out planted, free up them 2 greenhouses, and get that steady growing of the succulents. Have a great week, the rest of it. You've only got tomorrow. Break the back of it, definitely yesterday. Tomorrow, get that out of the way. Watch, I'm hoping there's a live chat tomorrow as well, boys, from you two, Richard and Paul. I'm going to try my very best to get to that. Mate, put it on at 7 o'clock. Put the live chats on at 7 o'clock, not at 6 o'clock. I barely get home for 6. I don't get home for 6 o'clock. It's about 6:45. Anyway, I'll try my best to meet you down there tomorrow on Richard and Paul's chat. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you on the weekend. Take care, boys and girls, and keep growing with your head down. Ta-da!